All right, welcome to episode 4 of the Harold Katz podcast. Jack Terrell has a big agenda for his Friday Erev Shabbos, so instead it's just going to be me and Coach. Yeah, a lot to dissect with The Godfather since we streamed episode 3. 2 losses against St. Joe's of Long Island and non-conference loss against Immaculata. Coach, I got the feedback after episode 3. And people thought that you were on a rampage. They thought you were on a rampage after episode 3. I can only imagine what their thoughts are going to be after hearing you after episode 4.
I'd like to hear what the rampage was about. Like, I'd like to hear, I was on a rampage. Why was I on a rampage?
No, it's just, the fans and their impatience about this team. So now they're going to feel like they have even more ammunition.
Yeah, well, they can feel whatever they want. It's like it's sort of the vocation avocation thing, and now I'm in a surly mood anyway. So I don't even know what's coming out of my mouth today. So good luck, Oren. And I'm holding you responsible if you can't tame the beast.
I got a pen and notepad as always.
Okay. Well, it's almost like everybody now has a little insight into what it's like to be part of a team that's building. You understand? Like you're just. You have to remind yourself, we start 4 freshmen, right? I mean, that's really what's up.
I'm aware of that fact every day. It goes back to last episode, and you touched up on this. We Jews are impatient, We want instant success.
We're the most impatient people in the world, probably of all time.
Yeah.
Being that we've been around that. But that's what we do. We want to get out of Mitzrayim, and we're like, hey, let's go. Come on. Keep us on, right? We're just running. But I always tell people that's why we don't eat like bok choy, because bok choy is like these fancy thing grows out of the ground. We don't have time for that. Give us meat, potatoes, and chicken. We gotta go. We can't eggs. We gotta go. We just don't have time. We gotta grab our stuff, matzah. We gotta grab our stuff and leave.
Right.
So because we're always going from country to country, bok choy has never been on our agenda so much, or. It's just like one of these things. Like, no, we don't have time to cook that. We're going with the eggs. Come on,
right. But it's still a new culture because when you and I, we talk about this regularly. When you and I were the only fans in the gym 6-7 years ago, we didn't talk about the impatience. Now it's existing, and I think it's a virus technically.
Look, criticism. Criticism is a tax on your success. Like if you're not successful, no one's gonna, well, we're successful. We've been successful, so people are going to criticize. That's a tax you pay. That's an actual tax. You know what I mean? Like that's what's going on. So you have to deal with the criticism. And most of the time, the criticism is not valid. Now, I'm not saying all criticisms are invalid. I'm just saying that most of the times in our scenario, the criticism, like everybody misses a larger point of the equation, and it's not. Well, we go back to. I'm trying to remember the Long Island game. Well, I'll just say this: Tuesday or Wednesday. About as bad a loss as I remember. It was a 10-point lead, and I think
even with the 10-point lead, we never looked like we were in it.
Well, I thought that 10 has to get to 15. That 10, you can't foul people and expect to hold leads like that.
Right.
Because then you score with the clock stop.
Not beaten down low all night.
Yeah, well, that's just A, no ball pressure on the perimeter, B, letting them do whatever they wanted in the post. I thought we got a little bullied down there. The kid 30 bullied us, and we didn't really respond very well. Like we just didn't, that is what's going to happen. You are a young team, so if you're a young team, you're going to get beat up a little bit, and what the fans don't understand is we've been through this before.
Right.
That's what they don't know.
Yeah.
And the difference is that we've recovered from it, and
Right.
because we know how to do it. You understand?
Yeah.
So you have to have a certain mindset. You have to have a certain understanding of what's going on and take a macro view. And most people are taking a micro view because that's where the Jewish people.
Right.
But as a coach, you can't look at it in the small condensed version. You have to look at the entire, let's just say, 4-year process of this freshman class. If you look at the entire 4-year process, I think we're a little bit ahead of schedule. And the problem became our success early was our I don't want to say downfall, but was our problem late. We had great success early in what we were doing, and then I think we paid for that. We're paying for that now because it's almost like we skipped some processes in the middle.
Yeah.
Still don't know if Roy's had a bad game. Sebi's had one, Dotan's had one. Daniel's had them. Like everybody has them. I mean, it's just being a freshman, and then one of the things that I'm a little disappointed in is that we just stopped running our stuff.
Right.
And guys think they're running it when they're not running it, and that's sort of part of the problem. So, and then like in some games, like the NYU game, for instance, or late in the in the Long Island game, or late in this game, like if you don't guard, it doesn't really matter.
Do you think Max Zackheim knows our offense, or you think there are kind of sequences in the offense where he kind of just relies on his own athleticism?
Max is fine. He doesn't understand what's going on. As always, everybody can improve. Max is doing a good job. I think part of the problem sometimes when you have a kid as skilled as Max is you just have to know when your time is. In other words, I had a certain player who played for me, and he would say to me all the time, like, "Well, coach, am I going to be able to go to the bucket? I mean, there's going to be plenty of time to go to the bucket." Well, how will I know? You'll just know. You'll know. And sometimes I don't think Max has pressed the issue at all. I think Max has been actually pretty good, and Max is going to take us to a different level. I stand by that. I know it's right.
Yeah.
And I think part of the problem is, you got to make shots too. And that has a little bit to do with shot selection, but it has more to do with just making shots. And so you don't make shots, and you don't take good shots, and you play with no energy, and you don't get stops. What do you expect to happen?
Right.
And that's where I think we are. We didn't play with any energy. We didn't get stops. And then it's almost like you're messing around with them for a little bit, and then before you know it, you're losing, and you don't understand how you're losing. That's really what I think happened. Kind of like the last two nights. Well, that was pretty good, especially with a kind of a little more experienced group, and I'll leave it at that for now.
So these fans that you and I talk about a lot, I don't have to tell you. I mean, you're a good man. You stay away from social media, and I think it's only made your life better.
Yeah.
But I don't have to. Yeah, I don't have to tell you what the chatter is. So in a 5-minute rant, can you tell these people why they're wrong about panicking about Zebi's off nights the last 2 games?
Well, one, because he's a freshman. 2, because all these fans either didn't know or choose to ignore Gabe's 1 for 17 at Farmingdale. right?
Yeah.
So as a coaching staff, when you have a kid like that, you make a decision. Do I sit Gabe, who's in the process of 1 for 10, 1 for 11, 1 for 12? Or do I pull him, or do I let him suffer through it and figure it out? And we let him figure it out. And I think the next game, I'm not mistaken, you could probably look it up. Farmingdale, and I think it was that Mount St. Vincent, or was that the one after Mount St. Mary game? He also had a bad game there, Mount St. Mary too. So I think like we tend to forget. Simcha had dog games too. Donnie obviously had dog games. Or had dog games. Ryan had dog games. But fans don't have any patience for that. They don't understand. Wait, I mean, you turn around and you anoint the kid who's just trying to get the shear on time, and you anoint him some kind of, D3 maven, and he's just a kid trying to figure out what we're trying to do and how to play college basketball. I don't think people get how hard college basketball is. I don't think they get it. They think it's just Division III. Dude, you can't compete on Division III. You're not good enough. You never play with anybody good enough. Play with anybody good enough. You play with one guy good enough. In particular in the Jewish community, there's like odds are you haven't played with anybody good enough to play at this level of Division III. Like there's different levels, but when you get to the highest level of Division III, where we have been and where we're trying to get back to, the basketball there, as you saw when Mary Hart and Baylor beat Texas State the other day, is actually pretty good.
I texted you about that.
Right. And when that happens, people jump on this wagon or they jump off the wagon. I find it interesting how many people have kind of piled onto him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's like a ton of people. Well, what we thought about him. And listen, everything I thought about Zebi is still 1,000% true.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't live by the whim of Twitter. Twitter's like you're like Donald Trump. You're sitting on a toilet and you go, well, let me think what I can do today to rile up the crowd. Let me see what I can do with the Jews. Or some Jew going, here's my opinion.
Right.
I mean, you're the same guy who was like spending Saturday night in his mom's basement, playing Tekken or whatever that game was called. You know what I mean? Like you didn't have no friends. Now you got Twitter. So now you're like the megaphone. And so you sound like you're the smartest guy in the room and you're friggin' a 140 character, commentary that doesn't matter if it makes sense or not, because it's on Twitter. It must be some validity to it. So I don't pay any attention to that because I think that's all nonsense, right? So I'm trying to be political. I mean, I don't want to be politically correct.
It's your show. You got
I'm today on one bad move and I could go off the rails. I'm just saying, like everybody's like, oh, Zebi's not what we thought he was. Zebi's just a freshman in college. He's just like every other freshman in college. He's trying to figure out how to play basketball on that level. Zebi's no different than he's ever been.
No.
He's as good as he's ever been.
Yeah. I agree. I think you also touch up on something very important. And this is someone who comes from the New York, New Jersey Yeshiva League landscape. And I can confidently say that the jump from the Yeshiva League to Division III basketball, it's like...
How hard the jump is, how many guys have done it?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to know about what happened 20 years ago, because whatever.
No, but we haven't seen, with the exception of Gabriel, we really haven't seen all that many successful Yeshiva League YU players. Well, Benji Ritholtz too.
Look, let's just take this. Let's just take this since Elliott's been here, right?
Yeah.
So Mike was there. Mike didn't come straight from the Yeshiva League because right?
Right.
McBurn, Judah, Shia. But then let's just take the team that won.
But we're talking
So
about
team
superstar category here, like Shelby, Benji, Gabriel.
right. So I'm saying let's just take the team that the first team to go to the NCAA tournament. Okay. Because that's like it's not the gold standard, but it's the beginning of the gold standard. Well, actually, let's take the one. Let's take the one who started. Let's take who started the NCAA tournament on the gold standard, right? Which is 1920 or whatever. Donnie started in both. Gabriel started in both. Ryan started in both. Okay, right. So that's three non-yeshiva. There's one Gabriel is a yeshiva league. Ryan, Eitan, Sim, and Donnie start that game. Okay.
Yep, still with you.
It's 80% come from outside of the largest population of concentration of Jews in America.
Right.
That's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I don't want to make any enemies in the yeshiva league, but you got to ask yourself why that is.
Right. Well, full disclosure, I've known Zevi for years. We're still pretty close. And I watched his high school career very, very closely. And they weren't playing so many games every week. You know, that's also another adjustment. Don't I have a case there?
A little bit. I mean, there's I don't know how many we just play 7 and 14 days or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's at a way different level. And here's the problem for Zevi now. He's at the top of everybody's scouting report.
Yeah.
Right. So, and
benefited Max and Oren.
What's that?
Which has benefited Oren and Max.
Yeah, sure. I think Oren more than anybody else, but I think for sure, like he's the top of the report. There's nobody else. They're not sitting around. Oh, let's put it. There's trust me, the top guy is Zevi, and the top guy will always be Zevi.
Right.
So you're right. It's again, but you kind of have to ask yourself, why are we not generating? You know, I don't know what the percentage of Jews that are in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, compared to the rest of the country. I would think it's New York, California, Chicago, maybe Baltimore, in that you know.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, the concentration of Jews is in New York.
Yeah.
There's a vast amount of,
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to tell you about these out of state high school basketball tournaments where all the out of town schools are motivated to beat the New York, New Jersey schools.
Well, I mean, that is where the majority of the kids come from.
Right.
So when you're dealing on that, so then the question is, why are we only generating a player a 4-year period? In other words, Zevi, Matan, Roy, Dotan, Max. So Max is a yeshiva league player, but he's nothing like that player because he's gone to prep school and college basketball.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
definitely not. Definitely apples and oranges there.
Well, so when we watched him coming out, he just wasn't this player.
No.
Like now he's totally the guy now.
Yeah.
You know, so
he probably doesn't even remember his first playing days all that well now.
You'd have to ask him, but you got to wonder. You got to wonder why.
No, it was a totally different path. Max going to that prep school, and then Brian, Zevi going to TABC, and then Israel for the year, and then YU basketball.
Right. So but the fact is that over the course of Elliott's tenure at YU, there have not been a lot. I mean, Shelby and Benji, Shia, maybe.
Right. Shia towards the end of his career, yeah.
But when you think about it, since Mikey Berg graduated, right, and Judah went with him that year, that's what we've had. Tyler, Justin, Gabe, Sammy Mandel, but guys who got, some kind of minutes and there might be a guy you go of or whatever here and there, but for the most part, who's starting in the playoffs, who's starting in the NCAA tournament. Now, to his credit, Tyler Ho did a great job when he filled in for Barr. I don't even know if he filled in for Barr. He filled in for Tal, when we won the first time.
Right.
So Tyler was great. Sheba League player. But it just seems that there's something missing. And so getting back to your original question about the Twitterverse, it's an instant gratification world on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing's instant gratification. So if you're not making 30 shots in every 20 that you shoot, it's a problem. I said it correctly. Not good enough to make the 20. I think you make 30 out of 20. Like when you're losing in a game, you're down 10, say at the half. You have to remind your team there's no 10-point shots in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so there's just a lack of, the same way that fans want players to have patience on the basketball floor, those fans have to have patience with the players while they're on the basketball floor, and we tend not to do that.
100%.
And then I think
quite unfortunate.
And then it's all noise, and you got to teach the kid to ignore the noise, and it's hard to do.
Right. So do you think how I don't want to just limit it to Zevi because I want to talk about the freshman team in general. How crucial and how important is it to these group of guys now that they have this 2-week layoff?
Well, I think it's big, but I think now you have one game in a month.
Right.
Essentially.
And I think some people, I think some people, I mean, like you said, we have to block out the noise, but I think some people are building up this Tufts game as a very important game.
I just don't see how. Why?
Right.
Explain to me. Let me hear the fans' perspective of it.
Played solid against a Division I opponent, has name recognition as an institution, another opportunity to beat a NESCAC team. I think those are some of the talking points. Now, can you do us all a favor and refute them?
Yeah, they're all idiotic. Next. And here's why they're idiotic. What do we do? Are we playing for an SOS here? Are we playing for an invite? We're not getting an invite.
The ship has sailed.
You can't lose Immaculata to get an invite. Can't lose the St. Joe Long Island, as good as they are.
Right.
To get an invite. It's a tough non-conference schedule, and we did pretty good with it. So why is this game any? You know what the bottom line is, and this is why I keep saying last time. We're 6-2. That's the only thing we have to worry about.
With the freshman team, how many times do we need to emphasize that? Is that going to be like a talking point for the entire season?
I mean, they're going to be freshmen the entire season. That's not going to change.
Right.
You know what I mean? There'll be more experienced freshmen. I think we're going through some bumps right now that I don't know if every freshman team does it, but a team that starts 4 of them, it's almost inevitable. And it may get worse in February because the season gets longer. I don't think it will, but the season is just longer than they've ever played before. It's more physical than they've ever played before. And it's more demanding than they've ever played before. It's more tiring than they've ever played before. So, from that standpoint.
Yeah, but for as long as we've known Elliott, he always seems to have his team ready for the month of February.
Well, I think that's why, and that's why fans don't really get it. Again, there's a macro view of the career and there's a macro view of the year. You play games in November, December to succeed in February, March. You don't play them in November, December to get an SOS. I mean, some guys do, but they're the blue bloods of the country. Like Williams can do whatever they want because their SOS is going to be great because they're in an SCAC, right? Illinois Wesleyan, they can do whatever they want. But we really can't do that.
Yeah.
And it's not relevant that Tufts game be a good game. Did we get better? Win or lose, did you get better? My problem with the game on
A week from Thursday?
no, my problem with the game on Wednesday,
Oh, immaculate.
yeah, was we didn't get better. And
But we were texting throughout that game, and I told you it felt like a preseason game to me in the way that we approached it.
well, and the way the fans approach it too, all these great
Right,
fans on Twitter.
right. The turnout was pretty dismal.
I mean, it was a lot better than when we first
And
started.
I checked the calendar. It's not finals yet. Students are still on campus.
I'm not sure it's the students that are blowing Twitter up either. I think it's somewhat of an adult group, right?
No, there's accuracy there.
So, like, where are you guys at? You got a lot to say. Why don't you come and support the group?
Right.
So just run your mouth on Twitter.
That was probably the emptiest I've seen it since our guys played.
Yeah, I could. Well, it was, it was growing in Donnie's sophomore year. It started to grow. In junior year, we had this winning streak, so then it was hard to get a seat a little bit. The senior year is almost impossible to get a seat.
Right.
And then last year's team, as the streak became famous, but we are a bandwagon group of people, so we jump on it.
But didn't you say? And I apologize in advance if I'm putting words in your mouth. But didn't you say that this could be maybe a blessing in disguise because some of the noise on account of this loss will go away, and we could just focus on winning?
Yeah, some of the bandwagon. Yeah, some of the bandwagon stuff will start leaving,
and that's for the good.
And I think so, because then, you limit the Twitter interaction, you limit the fans' demands and stuff like that. I'm not one to say there shouldn't be fans. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like,
there doesn't need to be instant commentary on every little thing.
I mean, mostly from people who really don't know what they're talking about. Like, you could say, okay, I play basketball, I watch a lot of ball, I watch the NBA, which of course would be the worst thing for you. But by that I mean to understand the college game. But
I agree. I think people need to stay in their lane. And I think, I think a lot of people do that. I mean, I do that for the most part. I don't really run my mouth off it. And most of the time, I'm actually running things by you before I say them.
well, look, I think a lot of guys aren't as thoughtful, and they got this to back them up or that to back them up, But I just don't see the value in criticizing a 19, 20-year-old kid. I'm not sure I get the value of it.
Yeah.
Because
and when you say an age like that, it's a kid. It's really a kid.
I mean, he's not able to drink in this country.
Yeah.
And you're over there criticizing him like he's some adult playing for the Lakers. You know what I mean? Getting paid for it. He's not doing that.
That goes back to our Division III NBA player comparison.
Nonsense. And I've been was watching the other day. I was looking the other day at games. Let's do a random thing. You have some box scores from last night's Division III games?
I could pull that up.
You pull some of them up. Let's see how this works. Well, you do that. I have to get a drink of water. Is that all right?
Yeah, sure.
But you have to talk. So you have to be the guy on screen. So I go get my
guys. I'm still here. Okay, do not go anywhere. Just pulling up Division III basketball scores. Yeah, I was missing an action yesterday because the high school where I work at, they had a close game against the defending champs, the Ramaz Rams. Here we go. Scores. So we have today's games and last night's games.
Right.
Yeah, got some games right here, Coach.
Okay, good. Hold on. I'll be with you in a second, Oren.
Yep. Take your time. I think the notable game was Christopher Newport losing to Virginia Wesleyan, so we'll talk about that.
So if I need a drink, I'm getting up and getting a drink. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So, all right. Let's just do a random study. Let's grab that Christopher Newport game for a second. I have not looked at any boxes. Tell me what Christopher Newport shot from the floor. They lost the game, right? What did they shoot from the floor?
Let's see. Christopher Newport.
Yeah. Should have on the bottom of the box.
They were 31 to 56.
Okay. What did they shoot from three?
They were 5 of 12.
Okay. So they were 31 of 56. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So they were 26 for 44 from two.
Yeah. I mean, we probably need Woj to crunch the numbers because he's a lot
You
better.
have to do the math like that.
Yeah.
Okay. What did the team that beat him shoot?
Run that by me again.
What did the team that beat him shoot?
Wesleyan was 4 of 10 from downtown and 32 of 54 from the field overall.
So you said they were 4 of 10?
Yeah.
So they were 28 for 44 from two.
Yeah. Ironically, Christopher Newport actually made more threes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I used to have this rule, but I don't think it's relevant anymore.
Mm-hmm.
My rule was the team that makes the most threes usually loses. But
Christopher Newport, let's make a point, by the way. They were up by 18 at the half.
right. So now go to the next box. What's that? Just pick another box. Doesn't have to be a top 25, just another one.
Okay, random game. I can pick anyone I want.
Yep. Random game.
Okay, let's do Mary Hardin Baylor because they're the talk of the D3 landscape right now.
We'll beat them against Texas State because that's not fair. Did they play a Division III school?
Howard Payne. Howard Payne.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, Howard Payne at 61 attempts overall. They were 21 of 61, 7 of 21 from three. Mary Hardin Baylor was 34 of 74, 10 of 27. A lot of shooting in this game.
Both of them are shooting around 30%. Mary Hardin Baylor's low. What is that? You said that's 27 of 10 for 27. Is that what you said?
10 to 27 from three. The final score was 87-65.
What did it say they shot from three on the game?
Mary Hardin
30
Baylor.
what?
10,
Yeah.
10 to 27.
Yeah, it gives you a stat, doesn't it? Tells you a number? Percentage number? It doesn't tell you?
Yeah, I don't see percentages here.
Okay.
I could probably go there. Hang on, I'm gonna get a stat there. Mary Hardin Baylor.
It's 37%.
37%. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take who they play. Okay, you told me that. Well, let's go. Give me another game.
Okay.
Give me another game.
When are we gonna get the ultimate takeaway, Coach?
I'll give it to you in a second.
Okay.
Give me another game.
Let's do Westfield State, UMass Boston.
Okay. Who won the game?
UMass Boston.
Let me tell you who won the game. No. Oh, well, you did it. Go ahead. What did UMass Boston shoot?
UMass Boston shot 8 of 20, 31 of 59 from the field overall.
8 of 20, 31 for 59.
And Westfield
30.
State,
Yeah, Westfield State shot
30 of 61, 5 of 14.
5 for 14. Okay. Now, go back to let's stay on this game for a second.
Okay.
Where was the rebound? Who was it? UMass Boston won, right?
Yeah, they won by 11.
UMass Boston won, you said?
Yeah.
Won by 11. Okay. I would bet you that the rebounding, they out-rebounded them by more than 7 rebounds.
The rebound comparison was 37 to 28.
There you go. And UMass Boston won that, right?
Yep.
How about the turnover? How about turnovers?
Turnover ratio.
More than 5 different.
Turnover ratio, UMass Boston 11, Westfield State 9.
Wow. Okay. All right. So now go back to just go to another random game. I'm getting to a point. Trust me.
Okay. We're anticipating it. Let's go back to Newport and Wesleyan. You want the rebounding comparison?
Yeah.
Okay. Christopher Newport had 26 boards, to Virginia Wesleyan's 25. So pretty even there.
Right. And it's a 1-point game at the buzzer, right?
Yeah.
What are the
Turnovers,
within three?
Wesleyan turned it over 15 times. Christopher Newport 10.
Okay, 5.
So that's a key stat, maybe. Well, actually, no. Wesleyan turned the ball over more.
Okay, there's one more stat.
Yeah. And last
What is the free throw situation?
Free throw situation? Oh, we're still on this game, right?
Yeah.
Newport was 9 of 18 from the line. Wesleyan was 9 of 12. So Newport got to the line more, and they didn't punish them there, so they paid the price.
Well, that's a 1-point game. Usually in a game like that, okay. Here's the thing: check the rebounding number. If the rebound number is within 6, if you get out rebounded by more than 6, I wouldn't say this is all 90%. I'd say more than 75% of the time. If you get out rebounded by more than 6 and your shooting numbers are similar and your turnovers are within 4 or 5, the team with the most rebounds wins the game. Especially if those rebounds are concentrated on the offensive end. In other words, there's 30 misses on your board and there's 12 offensive rebounds on it. You're going to get beat.
Right.
You understand what I mean? Because you're giving up 40% or something of the rebounds on your board. So now go down, pick a random game, and let's see if that theory holds true.
Okay, a random game that we didn't cover yet?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on that. Let's go back to the calendar. Last night was the 15th. Let's do Austin and Hendricks.
Okay.
All right.
What'd they shoot?
Austin shot. Oh, percentages show up here. Austin shot 9 of 25 from 3, 23 of 62 from the field overall, 37% from the field, 36% from 3.
Okay. And obviously from 2, they're much higher.
Right.
Not much, but they're higher. Okay. And the team they played?
Hendricks was 6 of 15 from 3, 22 of 54 from the field overall. Not much of a difference there either, 40% each way.
Right. Okay. Now, rebounds.
Overall, 45 boards for Hendricks and 32 for Austin.
Okay. Now, what are the turnovers?
And Austin won that game. Austin turned the ball over 9 times. Hendricks turned the ball over 19 times.
And that's the difference.
That's the indicator right there, right?
In other words, you have discrepancies. It's a large rebounding discrepancy. I would have told you that Hendricks won the game, except who won the game? Austin, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a minus 10 turnovers. Look at it. What was the final score?
66-60.
Close, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And here's why. Because every single time you turn the ball over, it's worth a point. Because if you're going to shoot 50% from the floor.
Or second chance opportunities.
Right. Don't get me started on that now. I'm not in the mood for second chance opportunities. I'll tell you why in a minute.
Yeah, sorry.
Two shots. If a 2-point shot, every turnover is going to be 1 point. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you turn the ball over 19 times, you just cost your team 19 points. Not 38 points, right? Because or you're 38 plus, but 19 times are 19 points worth of turnovers, assuming you're going to shoot 50% from the floor. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
You understand what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Okay. That discrepancy is actually a large gap. So what a lot of people don't, and you can do this with any game. If the rebounding is like after my number is usually 6 or 7, and there's not a real great discrepancy on the offensive glass, and the numbers seem to be the same, without you adding them up, whatever, you pretty much be guaranteed those turnovers are going to be outside of the norm. So like they have plus 10 turnover, right? So if you take any random game on any random night, you're going to see statistically teams are shooting over 60% or over 55 from two, shooting around 30, 35 from three. But the turnover is the issue and the rebounding is the issue. So unless you get a major discrepancy on the free throw line, which I didn't ask you about, but it didn't sound like that was going on. Okay. So you could play great defense. If you don't rebound, you ain't worth a lick. You understand? Because your defense did nothing for you because you didn't close the possession out. I was a victim of that myself last night. You have to rebound. Nothing is more valuable. Here's the other thing. You say whatever you want, analytically, statistically, whatever. If you can't make layups and free throws, huh?
There's that keyword again, analytics.
Yeah, keyword. Yeah, you can play with those numbers all you want. They only get manipulated. You can't layups, free throws, passing, and catching. That is all basketball has been and will ever be about. You can give me all these wins above replacement and all that other nonsense. It's all about pass and catch and layups. You can't pass catch it. You can't make a layup or a free throw. Play soccer because basketball is not for you. And if your team can't make layups and free throws, you're going to struggle. And you say whatever you can shoot 50% from three. It's highly unrealistic, but you can do it. It happens. You couldn't do it over a season, but maybe you could. I don't know. Maybe I get to see that team yet. But if you can't make layups and free throws, it really doesn't matter what you're doing. And I think kids, like, it's crazy. The first thing they do when they come into a gym, just watch a kid do this. First thing a kid does is go behind the three-point line. And you know which kids are serious because those kids are form shooting and working their way back. You know what I mean? Like, those are the kids who have a chance to play at the next level. Right. But those kids who come in and the first thing they do is grab a ball and shoot a three, the odds on them playing on the next level, especially if they're doing that in high school, right, are very rare. You don't have what it takes.
Can we bring this concept now into the YU sphere? And I hope I'm not being controversial when I say this, but we've been a good program for years, but it's always felt to me, and it still does, that rebounding has been a vulnerability, and we really have never found a solution to that, even to this day.
Our solution was number 4. Like, he's the best rebounder I've ever seen play that was Jewish.
Right.
But like, Gabe was a freak.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he's just such an awesome rebounder.
Right. But I guess I'm talking about the post-Gabriel era now.
Pre and post. Pre and post Gabe.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I mean, honestly, the post Gabe is but a couple months right here. The pre-game was also an issue. So,
and I don't know if the expectations in this category are more on Matan or more on Dotan.
Well, it should be on everybody. That's what bothers me. Take just dribble penetrations we've been giving up down the middle of the paint. It's not just a guy on a ball. He may make a mistake. Well, who's behind that? Nobody's behind it. Listen, it takes no skill to hustle. Effort takes no skill. And if your effort is such that we allow, that first time that kid comes down the paint, all right, he comes down second time, you might want to clean his clock once or twice. Let him know this is not available for you anymore. And we don't do that at all. And so it happened. I don't even know if it happened to NYU because we're giving them open looks from everywhere.
Yeah.
But we just can't give up penetration out of the middle of the paint. You just can't do it. Like, You can't let them turn you and then go middle. That not what we're trying to do. It destroys your program. You know what I'm saying? So
So let me elaborate on your theory because you have said, and within good reason, you said we're not running our stuff. But at the same time, let's add to that. Are we defending our stuff? No.
not particularly well.
Yeah.
So we were for a little bit now. You know, we were getting okay. We were getting better the last couple of days, and it could be tired. You know, it's a lot of game. Like if you're not used to playing every other day, it's a
No. Who
dread.
of these players had this type of schedule in their high school careers? Not did Roy? I don't know. You tell me.
I don't think so. So what I'm kind of saying is, you don't have you don't have
The next time they'll have a stretch like that, it'll be Skyline play again.
right, but whenever they come back in February, that's what happens. But it still doesn't preclude effort. Because the effort still has to be there.
Right. 100%. And that's what we didn't see it there Wednesday night.
Well, I'm not going to call guys out. I just think that as a whole,
No,
there's
but for example, and he's a protege of yours, so I'm going to shower him with praise. I think Gav Landau is the definition of effort. He's Mr.
yeah,
Effort. He's Mr. Effort.
yeah, yeah.
Like you just see it in the body language. The guy wants to play. He is such a fighter.
Well, he wants to get physical too. Like
Yeah.
he's like, you want to play with me? Come on, let's go bang.
Right. And that
Yeah,
was missing on Wednesday night. Gav also lights a fire.
yeah.
Gav also lights a fire under his teammates, I think.
Kind of runs our stuff too.
Right.
He's going to screen away. He's going to down screen. He's going to back screen. He's going to knock down a couple shots and all that. But
Yeah.
it's it's what you do on the defensive end. They cut your bones. You got to cut your teeth. So I think the whole thing's kind of gotten out of hand in a way. And whereas Donnie, Gabe, Sim, Tyler, they got to grow up in the quiet of 7 people in the gym. Mike Stuyvesant, the Bergs, the Hodes.
You, me.
Yeah. I was always amazed. We couldn't even get our AD to come every night, you know. Well, I mean, he's working till late, so I'm not picking on Joe here, but
Nice save.
there's not a lot of people there, you know,
Yeah.
and they got to grow up, make their mistakes in relative obscurity.
Yeah. Look,
I don't
I
know if
think
we see them come
a
every
great
once in a while.
comparison, coach, is the journey from the York first round game to the 2 games at Hopkins.
Yeah,
Gabriel's first NCAA tournament compared to Gabriel's last NCAA tournament. Well, second to last, excuse me.
meaning.
It was freshman status, and then
Oh,
there was
it was a little quiet.
right.
A little quiet.
There was more seniority there, and it could be the case with this team right now.
Well, I just think that we just have to give it time to develop, and we're not doing that. And these other kids have had a chance to develop in obscurity. That's what. And so it's a little different but that's why they're here. In other words, they're here because they read about us or saw us, or you know what I mean. Like they saw us, they saw the kids play, saw a team play. I want to be part of that. Just like kids are saying now, little kids dreaming of playing for YU. So those go back to what we talked about a few weeks ago about the impact of. I also think they really haven't gone through the fire at all, and now maybe they're being tested. I'm talking about the upperclassmen, but now the freshmen are going to be tested right away.
Yeah.
So
I think I actually would have liked to have seen Don't get me wrong, I never question Elliott's decisions, but I think I would have liked to see more freshmen play to earn their minutes against Immaculata because it looked like our starters weren't really there at all. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, it doesn't always work that way, though. You can't always do that. The bottom line is these are the guys you brought. You dance, you got to dance with them, and they got to play better. It's not hard. It's not. It's not criticism to say it's not like they don't know they got to play better. I'm not calling them out. I'm saying everybody has to play better. We got to coach better. Got to play better. No, it's not really complicated. You got to come with some energy. If they feel like I do today, they're probably dead tired.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a long week for both of us, Coach.
Some sleepless nights, my friend.
That's why we got the Sabbath. Why we got the Sabbath.
I was actually thinking about that today. I would not. I have no idea what I would
aren't
do.
These the best? Aren't these the best Friday nights? Because you kind of just
they were a lot
have
better
your meal and then crash.
They were a lot better when I can get 12 hours of sleep.
I know. Don't you do what I do? Don't you go to sleep at like 6 o'clock tonight and then wake up the following morning?
I actually try to learn a little bit after
Okay.
eating, but I'm still going to bed at 7:30 or whatever. But normally I'd want to sleep till 7 o'clock, get up and learn a little bit, But you get to an age, Oren, where 5 hours of sleep, you're jumping for joy, kind of thing.
I know. I'm already there.
Last Friday night was good. I got about 10 hours of sleep. That was good.
Yeah.
But I was still backlogged. I don't think I was even anywhere near as backlogged as I am now because I haven't slept I got like 3-4 hours on Wednesday night. I got almost none last night.
Yeah.
So if anyone's wondering why I'm not agitated, I'm just working on fumes right now. And I think I'll say this, and I'll just leave it out there. I think sometimes in life, I think every day in life you get opportunity, and I think sometimes we take that opportunity for granted. So you got to make the most of every single day, of every single opportunity. And that's what we did not do the last 2 times we go. We had an opportunity to put immense pressure on Farmingdale, and we didn't do it. Opportunity to make ourselves better on Wednesday night, and we didn't do it. Instead, we took a step backwards.
Right.
So, but then the question is the same question you ask when you win the NCAA tournament. Now what? That's my question. Now what? So you lost the game. Now what? So you won the game. Now what? Now what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Now what?
Now we have to ask ourselves now what as we proceed with the rest of the season.
Yeah. And that's kind of all I got right here.
Yeah. I think it's definitely a way to close. I just want to ask you a quick question. You saw no signs from last Saturday night's game that St. Joe's of Long Island can be in the thick of it?
Oh, no. I believe they're one of the 4 best teams in this league.
Yeah. If we were in the other division, I think we would be cruising.
Yeah, but you're not.
I know.
You have to fight through one. It makes you a little battle tested. But here's the thing. I'm not sure we're in the top 4 in this division. I mean, in this league. You have to earn that.
Right. No, you can't just rely on your status from years past. You gotta earn it again and again and again. I agree.
I'm sorry for Yeshiva Norris. Matter of fact, I might argue just the opposite. Rooting for us to get beat.
There were portions in that game the other night where I was thinking like maybe a loss would do them some good.
I don't believe it. Now let me be clear what I mean by that. I don't believe losing's ever good. But
but coach, there are lessons from losing.
No question. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
If in fact you could learn something from it. But somebody's like, well, you might want to lose before the NCAA tournament, so then you could when Sim's team.
Or it's always the talk about professional sports. You don't want a perfect season because the psychological.
Well, guess what? Guess what? Not professional. They're college kids.
Right. I wasn't doing a comparison. I'm just telling you. I was just bringing like a similar idea.
That's just a sports writer thing. I can see why you dig it. It's just a sports writer thing.
Yeah.
But coaches, a great coach told me once.
No, but to my credit, last year there was all this chatter when the team was still undefeated that they might want to lose eventually. Am I right there?
Yeah, it's silly. It's a silly argument.
Yeah,
because we did lose, and then what happened?
We had a good final. We had a good final stretch with that St. Joe's, Connecticut win, for example.
Season get better, or season kind of stay the same?
Yeah, but there were some bumps in the road even after that loss. But then that St. Joe's, Connecticut win set the momentum, winning the Skyline tourney and then going into the tournament.
How did we do?
Would
you say we underperformed, performed as on par, or overperformed?
No, we didn't meet our expectation. What I'm saying,
great. What was great about that loss? In other words, you're telling me that a team that was most talented, one of the most talented team in the Skyline. Won the Skyline.
No,
and that was due to a loss.
I think no. What I'm trying to say is, after the IWU loss, there were still a few moments towards the end of that season where it did set us up for a good final push as we won the conference tournament. I think that's the only thing I was trying to say.
I mean, we lost a Long Island, a game we never should have lost. Look, I just think that's happenstance. I don't think that's because nothing good came out of either of those losses.
Right.
We gave the same crap effort. We had the same internal issues.
But you don't think there was a different type of feeling within the locker room after the St. Joe's, Connecticut win?
Hey, maybe, but to what end? You beat Connecticut, so what?
Right. I guess it goes back to what you were saying. Now,
here's the question.
Now what?
Yeah, here's the question. Could you have done that without losing that other game? I mean, we're better than they were. So that's what I'm saying. You could learn lessons that had happened. I don't necessarily think they do great things for your season, if you know what I mean.
Right.
They can, I guess. I'd rather be undefeated than make you have to knock the block off my head.
Yep. Right. So now what? Now what? Now what? That's the
key. That's the lesson. I apologize if I was a little lackluster today. I'm just working on a little sleeping.
Yeah. Always insightful from the Godfather. That does it for episode 4, and we'll be back in the coming weeks with episode 5. Thanks so much for watching, and take care, guys. Have a great Sabbath.